scratch that one. We'll give it another try. Hi, and welcome to a new episode of the Nomadic Business Insights. In this particular episode, we'll be talking about a topic that very few people really speak about, and it is the feeling of always failing. And I think it's something that any thriving or successful entrepreneur knows, because the more you achieve, the more you can do, the more you know you're capable of, the more you'll also feel that you're constantly failing. And in this episode, we're going to speak about that. I think it's an important topic. It's a topic that I don't think too many people know about. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's get it going.
You are listening to LD Podcast. Would you like to publish with us? Tell us your story at www.ld.studio/podcasts. Edited and published by LD Studio.
Well, guys, you can probably hear from the background sound here that I am at a public place. I'm actually at a hostel called The Secret Garden, which is a rooftop, very cool alternative place in Quito. The last week we have been packing down our life at the coast of Ecuador in Ayampe and have been driving towards Quito. We had a beautiful stop at the Chimborazo Volcano National Park, where I had another attempt of climbing the volcano, which didn't go so well. There was a lot of rain, but yet still the trip was so beautiful. And as you might guess, as we are now in Quito, we're ending this time here in Ecuador. It's been an amazing 4 months. We met so many beautiful people. It's really hard to put it in words, because this was not what we were expecting from Ecuador. We were expecting South America. We've been a couple of times before. We were expecting the people, but there was such a sense of an international community with very talented, very loving, and very intelligent and giving people. So I feel just down to my heart, really thankful that we found that place, that we found Ayampe, that we decided to stay there for such a long time. I can only but recommend that place. It's one of those 100 top holy grails for people like us in the world. Check it out. Ecuadorian south coast, little tiny village. And yeah, we are back in Quito. We are gonna sell our car this week, which can turn out to be more of a hassle as we were wishing for. The guy that we had a deal with that's gonna buy back, he's kind of seemingly like pulling out. So now we're kind of a wild search. Tomorrow, it's Sunday, and we'll go to one of the big car markets and see if we can get it sold there. We need to get it sold, that's for sure. There is a lot of money invested in that car. It's not the end of the world, but it is something we don't want to have hanging over us when we go back to Europe, because that's our next destination. We'll be going to Spain, to our band at the North Coast. The swell of Spain is currently just increasing and increasing. So I really want to be there for the start of the summer. Also, there is so many cool people crossing by. The whole caravan community of Europe is coming down in May and June. So there's a lot of people we're looking forward to meet. But well, enough about where we are in our travels and what we're doing. What we are really looking into in this episode is, as I said in the introduction, that continuous feeling of failing, of not doing enough, of not being enough. And I don't think that this is a feeling that is only relating to entrepreneurs or very business-minded people. This goes for everything in life, but I think particularly from my perspective, I want to talk about it and share some experience and moments from the entrepreneurial lifestyle. And the reason really I got to think about this topic because we're kind of still in that bankruptcy trilogy, but the bankruptcy cases are yet not closed, so I can't really put that episode out yet. So I thought, meanwhile, I can do a little other episode about this topic. And the reason why it came to me was that we have been in a quite difficult phase me as the chairman of the foundation, Diga. We've been in a quite difficult phase there. The whole board, we had to take some really tough decisions that are going to influence the direction of the foundation for many years to come. It's also going to influence a lot of people, jobs, kids. And even though the decision in itself is a good move, it's positive and it's helpful for the future, it's tough in the moment. And I found myself a day before we had that board meeting where we're going to put through that decision. I found myself in a very bad state. Barely couldn't focus properly. I felt very depressed. I just didn't feel good about things. So going into that meeting, I had a very sincere talk with Sylvia, and she reminded me of a very simple thing, and that is, why don't you look back at all the things that you guys have already achieved, the things that you have been doing, and what you have been creating. And I kind of got struck in the moment by thinking, how can I feel we're letting people down? How can I feel that we are failing in our mission when 99% of people, or most people, don't even are close to achieving those things, you know? Is there another way of looking at this? Can I be looking at it and say, wow, I'm so thankful and proud of what we've been doing. I'm grateful what we have been able to give other kids and people working in the foundation. But for some reason, I often can't, you know, I really struggle with that, to be honest. Not only in that particular project, but in everything we're doing. I'm always having this major sense of, you're not doing enough. You're not working enough. You're not achieving enough. It's not moving fast enough. And I think a lot of people have this feeling. As I said initially, it doesn't have to be that you are someone running a startup or building businesses. It can literally be in simple work life. So that is why I wanted to do an episode about this topic, because I think it involves all of us, and it can become a major pain point, a pain, something that you carry with you, and it can keep on pulling you down. And it's not about not being ambitious, because people tend to say you can never be too ambitious, and I couldn't agree more. It's always beautiful to be ambitious, but you can very clearly separate ambition and your feeling on success. And that's the problem. If you do not separate them, if only the next success and the next success creates a feeling of success, and you're not achieving them because maybe you're too ambitious, then you'll be left in a backpack. And that's kind of where I think I feel myself right now. And I've had loops with myself many times on this topic. The most important thing is that if you're not feeling that you're achieving something positive, and you're not feeling positive about what you're doing, you're also radiating and creating some sort of negative energy around you. And I think it's pretty much proven that the single most important fact to be achieving with whatever you want to do, if it's private project, if it's work related, if it's relationship, it is to remain positive, not fake positive, not continuously positive, but that the major span of your time feels like a positive one, because if not, you're moving into a depression, and that's affecting people around you. So if you're managing to transcend our overall feeling of positivity, then other people around you will pick that up. They'll feel motivated. They'll let themselves be dragged along by your positivity. I think it hangs very much together, regardless of how much you're achieving. Not looking at numbers, not looking at income or whatever you measure it in. But success can also be measured very much in your feeling about what you're achieving. And I just remember a very beautiful friendship of a guy in Germany that's called Mateusz. He put this in the most simple way, and said he was very much into meditation, also very much into mindfulness, and we shared a lot of very exciting conversation on this topic some years back, and still do. And one of his major points was, it's not about how fast you run, and you actually don't have to run in the sense of moving fast. It's rather how much you feel you're running. So you can really be walking almost slowly, but if you feel and make yourself convinced that you're moving fast enough, that's when you really feel success. So sometimes stepping down, taking the foot off the gas pedal, looking around, appreciating, everything that is around you, everything that you have achieved, that is the only key to feel succession. And recently I've been really into, and I can only but recommend this, I've been a lot into Buddhist meditation. You can find it on various platforms. I'm very much into YouTube because I really love also visuals, being attracted. There is a lot of really cool channels. One of the major ones is just called Buddhism Straight Out. They have crazy good meditation videos. And I just wanted to share a little bit from one of them. I'll put the links from several of those podcasts down below this episode on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. It was something I actually listened to this morning, and so episode I keep on listening to over and over again, and it's called Flow of Positivity or something like that. And it's a 20-minute meditation session where literally the whole thing is about just letting go and telling yourself wherever you are at this moment, it feels good. And it's a self-repeating, like a speaking meditation practice. So a lot of the time you'll just be sitting silently with both eyes and repeating. For example, one of the most beautiful phrases is that feel how all in you is free of pain and feel how you're free of sorrow. And you just keep on repeating that. And that kind of practice, whether you do it in the morning, take a break during the day or in the evening, just sitting down 50 minutes, put on music that you enjoy. I really enjoy alpha waves, meditation music, and just repeating that things to yourself. And then all of a sudden, lots of small things will start popping up in your mind, even though the reason for meditation is silencing your mind. You'll feel that there is a lot of positive thoughts coming up. And those can be small things. Maybe you're in a project where you feel you're not achieving what you should, but then during the practice, small things come up, like that amazing small discussion you had with team members where everyone felt engaged, or a really nice praise you gave out to some of your colleagues, and the laughters you shared, all that is also part of the journey. It is not only about what you created, but it's mostly about how you created it. So I really recommend people to go into these practices. I know dedicating time for meditation can be hard in times when lots of is going on, but I promise you that at the other side, in the end of it, you'll feel so much more enclosed on what you're doing, and it will feel right, however, what direction it will go. So I think now is not the time where I'm really going to go very deep into meditation. I don't feel that I have enough practice. Maybe later in life. I am working on another podcast that is called George's Little Universe. And we've been recording quite a few episodes already, but it's probably nothing I'll release before maybe a year or two. But that's a podcast where we'll be talking a lot about inner feeling, how to work with yourself, how to feel positive about things that are going on around you. But yeah, I think we're closing a bit on the topic. I just want to summarize with how massively important it is to encourage self-awareness and positivity, because it doesn't only apply to entrepreneurs. It applies to everything in life, and especially the fact if you are a leader or someone who has a leading position, the way you influence and the way you motivate people around you, it only comes to the way of speaking, the way of thinking, and you can't fake those things. Now, if you are not feeling good about where you are, you can also not long-term make other people feel good about where they are. And I think, and that's one of the most beautiful things in those meditation practices, especially in Buddhism, is that it's going into meditation, or the whole reason why you want to do meditation is to learn how to make other people around you feel good. And only by feeling good yourself, you can make other people feel good. And I think a lot of us are focusing too much about ourselves feeling good, and are forgetting that maybe the single one key of making yourself feeling good is feeling that you are helping others and making others feel good. So those things are very combined. But simply explained, if you can make yourself feel good about things, you'll also succeed making others feel good about things. And that way you're reinforcing your own feeling. As one more thing I wanted to share, it more applies for the Norwegian listeners of this podcast, but there was a book that is really cool that I recommend you to read or listen to as an audiobook. It's called Sunt Bondevett på jobben, and written and read by Amund Fjelstad. Translated into English, it means a healthy farmer mindset in any workplace. And I won't go too deep into that audiobook or book, but the major point of that book is it's not about being too fancy about everything you're doing. He comes from a farmer family, and he has been CEO and CTO in many major companies in the world, and also involved in a lot of big boards. So he really explains well how you can be very simple about things, very true about things, not overcomplicating and always speaking straight to the core. But if you're doing it in a respectful way, a positive way, where you're genuinely saying good about everyone around you, but your main key is just to pull people with you and make them self-aware and self-inspired. That is how we're going to achieve things of the group. Because you'll never achieve the same things if you run alone, what you could have been achieving if you run in a group. And with that, I think I just want to close back on the entry topic of this little episode. That feeling of not making enough, of not achieving enough. If you can give yourself more time, take a bit speed or progression out of what you're doing, and actually just enjoy time to sit down like an old man or old woman watching the belt and tell yourself, wow, what beautiful things we are achieving. I'm so happy to see those people achieving that, or I'm so glad for the progress these people are making. Then that will help you a lot as well. And just remember to be open to everyone around you. Be open about your feelings. You're not supposed to be feeling good all the time, and a lot will come back to you. Well, I think that's it for this short episode. Thank you guys for listening. If you haven't yet, remember to sign up for our broadcast channel, Nomadic Business Insight. You can find the link directly on my Instagram profile. And if you haven't listened to it yet, I'd really recommend you to check out a podcast that Sylvia and me are doing, a collaboration called Nomadic Parents. The podcast is all about following our daughter Sakira's life from basically birth to as far as we want to go with it. We're doing one episode every month on her birthday date, birthday month. So check it out. And I think it's really cool if you're into building families or have kids yourself or expecting kids. We're learning things every day, and it's quite amazing what a new newborn can teach you. And with that, I think I'm gonna go and bury myself into a bit of more work. We're working on putting out the strategy for our sales team at LD Studio for the fall in 2024. This is an exciting progress. We're looking much more into international markets, something we're excited about. I'll get some work done. It's a nice Saturday, and I enjoy a lot splitting my work hours throughout the whole week and not feeling like I have to work Monday to Friday. So sometimes it's a really positive thing to sit and work on a Saturday, and the rooftop here is amazing. I think I'm gonna put in a clip extra on the very end of this episode. I can see the whole town, the Kiso, the cathedral, islands around. It's just been raining, but it's dried up. So yeah, that's enough about the place here. Thank you guys for listening in. I'll see you around.
Thank you for listening to LD Podcast. We are continuously looking for the most talented innovators. No matter your background or expertise, shoot us an email at high5@ld.studio with your skills and portfolio.